Hey guys, it is Debbie Dubois here. It is time for your weekly energy report and your twin flame sacred partner reading for Sunday, May 19th through Saturday, May 25th. And I've got a few things that I want to talk about while I'm preparing, for my energies, aligning my energies with Source, shuffling the cards. I want to tune into some information that has been coming to me over the last week, having to do with True Sacred Union and the catalytic heart awakening path. I have been in contact with, I would say, many, and I mean many people who are all experiencing certain things. And so I want to put it out there and run it past you. First of all, we've just come upon the Scorpio Full Moon yesterday. A friend of mine let me know it was around 5, I don't know, maybe 5:10 yesterday, and we were actually on the phone. We have some really significant, I want to call them redos. I want to say, I have seen so many people who are experiencing replays and do-overs for things that they thought that they had cleared already. And I don't know whether it is because Scorpio, makes us dive deep, or if it's just we're getting to a critical point where we cannot fool ourselves anymore. It's like things will keep not happening, okay? Or like let's say for example you've got something you're expecting to happen and it doesn't happen, but you've been sure that it's going to happen, and you haven't had any doubts or fears that it's going to happen, but then it doesn't happen, and it's almost like you keep wondering, well, why isn't this happening? This should be happening now. And it gets to critical mass, and all of a sudden, poof, there you go. You've got the triggering of something you thought was gone. And I also know of partnerships and, twins and sacred partners that are in union that, may have had issues where they've gone round and round in certain areas, and, really thinking that things are settled, that okay, you've gotten past that stuff, and then all of a sudden that stuff comes back up and you're kind of like, what the heck? So I really do think that where we're at, and this is for those of you who know that you're here, shifting patterns of imperfection for the collective, coming into alignment with your higher self and all that. Some of you may have gone through this over the last week, and I do think that it has something to do with that Scorpio full moon. I would say that if you haven't experienced already, you're probably going to have a breakthrough in that front. I know that several people that I've talked to have already had a breakthrough, so that may be something that you've gone through over the last week. And but I guess the reason for me bringing this up is that I've often said you really can't, as long as you have a need outside of yourself, and as long as you have a certain belief that you don't own, it's like what you're expecting to happen cannot happen, because if you're holding patterns that are going to keep you back from actually being able to be in your highest self for those events or for those relationships or for those circumstances, what's going to happen is you're not going to be ready, and it's not going to go the way it's intended to go. So for those of you who have been going through this, I guess this is just a little bit of encouragement to keep going, because it cannot show up until you are completely and utterly ready for it to happen. So that is just a little something that I felt I needed to communicate before we got started. And I'm going to go ahead and get started now. Let's look at the first thing that we're going to talk about is the overarching energies for the coming week. And those of you who have been watching my readings know that basically right now my go-to deck is the Intuit Oracle. I use these cards for many, many reasons. The biggest reason is that they're spookily and eerily accurate. And where I have found them being the most accurate is literally in my everyday life as I start to have questions. Because this is a deck for questions. This answers questions. And of course, as you get information, you basically get more questions, right? So this deck enables you to do that. Answer questions that keep coming up as a result of the information you're getting. So it's a dialogue, if you will. And this week I'm going to do that a little bit more than I did last week, is I'm going to allow the cards to kind of guide me and give me promptings to find out what other information that we all might need based on the cards that show up. But we are going to start somewhere, and that is, what are the overarching energies for the coming week? And this is going to be about how you are feeling, what you might be doing, and it's going to be a little bit about the energies that you're going to deal with this week. So let's go ahead and get started and pull some cards. Oh, interesting. So the first card that I pulled is the Phoenix. All right. The first card, catalytic heart awakening. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but catalytic heart awakening is something that came to me in a meditation very specifically when it comes to the twin flame phenomenon, because the question was, and it's been an ever-ending struggle, is the twin flame situation real, or are a whole lot of people going crazy and dealing with unhealthy relationships, obsessive compulsive, whatever names you can come up with. And that was the word that was revealed to me a long time ago, catalytic heart awakening. It's part of the transformation that we are all going through from one way of relating with a love partner to a brand new way, which is based on complete balance within self of two individuals who come together in their complete wholeness to create a third energy, which is the unity of those two almost as one soul. So that was the definition. And I'm so honored that Aria put this in her deck, because it is the total description of what this connection is. It's a catalytic heart awakening. And that does not limit you to anyone can have a catalytic heart awakening. It doesn't have to be shared by both people either. Where it's really magical is when it is. And that's, I think people think of that as the twin flame phenomenon. But regardless, it's helpful. Okay, the second card I got, which is the central energy in this spread, is the Lion. And remember, this is the overall arching energies. Oh, we got another transformation card. Okay, so this is the Stork. So as I read these cards, I like to share with you how they're read, because, some of you might not be familiar with Lenormand, and I know I wasn't before Aria introduced me to her new deck. But Lenormand is basically reading cards together that have extra meanings, and there's a whole bunch of memorization that needs to go on, and I'm not a memorizer at all. So what I love about her deck is it gives me so much depth, because I can look at the cards paired together, and it actually enriches the meaning. So the first card in this 3-card spread that I go to is the Lion card. So this week is going to be a little bit about, what is fair, what is just, what is fair, and how do we get into that heart-centered place, okay? That means letting go of the ego, all right? The ego tends to get in there, it's funny because you're trying to create balance, right? You're trying to see what's fair, but the ego always wants to get in there and make sure it gets its needs met. So this is a call to say, if you're looking for what is fair and just, it is so important to go into the heart center, which is that regal part of yourself, the part of yourself that is the true royalty, the true child of God, that centered place, the lion. And that's where you're going to find your energies, most productive to focus on. Interestingly enough, we have two transformation cards. And this is kind of confirming what I felt when I was talking with my friend Lisa yesterday. We're talking about the Scorpio full moon and how, she had heard that we're kind of going through a portal right now, transformation. And she is one of the individuals that, we've been talking a lot over this last week in terms of, what kind of things are happening. The transformation of finding those tiny seeds that are so deeply buried that you think that they're gone, and you realize, holy mother of God, I'm dealing with these things again. That is because we're going for complete renewal, transformation, rebirth, transformation, change. Do you see this? Two cards, both fully transformation on either side of authority, our higher self, that lion within us, the heart-centeredness. So some of you may actually feel like you're coming through this portal where you're beginning to see some of that transformation and change that you've been waiting for and actually thought you'd achieved. And I think that that's what's key here. A lot of people have been feeling like, well, I'm okay. I'm in my center. I don't need another person, right? I don't need anything outside of myself. I'm feeling very much in my center but then circumstances will happen and you're like, whoa, where is this coming from, right? That's what I felt last week was about. The overall energies of this coming week, how you're feeling. You might actually be feeling, it's possible that you're feeling the actual transformation, okay? But this word complete renewal, it may just mean that we have started to get to a place where we're beginning to feel that renewal, because renewal is the word that jumps out at me, okay? Renewal, the change. We're feeling the change, experiencing the change. Now, for some of you, you may be in the heart of that transformation. You may be feeling restless a little bit. You may be fighting the ego and your pride and your self-esteem. That may be where you are at with the ego, okay? You may be dealing with some of the catalytic heart awakening symptoms of, triggers maybe. You may be more in the transformation stage. See, I think that, we have to allow for the fact that we're all at different places on this journey, but there is an overall arching feeling that, we're definitely dealing with the transformation right now. We're dealing with some really huge transformation energies. And oh my gosh, I just love this as a way to start out our reading. All right, so I think I'm going to let's give that a little bit of a boost with some quartz. Let's put the focus on that transformation. And we're gonna look now at the connection between you and your love interest, your beloved, your twin flame, your sacred partner, or maybe just that person who's entered your life that is of interest to you right now and you're kind of curious about that person. What is the connection between you and your love interest this week. We've gotten an idea of what you're going through. And this is a really good place to come from when it comes to anything. Anything that happens, we're starting with a basis of transformation and rebirth or renewal. So let's go into the cards and let's just see, what is the connection between you and your love interest? Well, the first thing that we get is the broom. Okay. The second card we get is the loons. Oh, wonderful. And then we get the lily. Okay. All right, so we're looking at the connection between you and your love interest this week. All right, well, the central card of this is deep commitment. Okay, so does it matter really what the nature of your relationship is, whether it's a long-term relationship or your catalytic heart awakening relationship, or whether it's someone that's come in that's new, or if it's someone that's on the peripheral that you're interested in. I feel that the loons right now is your deep commitment to creating bonds. And it's interesting because it's saying reawaken lost hopes. So this card really might be speaking to those of you who have had someone come into your life more recently. You know, that you're like, wow, there's actually, something new here. And there is a deep commitment within you to make this situation the highest possible outcome as you can. And if you are in a longer experience, like a longer relationship, you might have had a renewal of that deep commitment in that connection, a reawakening of your feelings for that person, and a deepening of those bonds. Whoever this person is that you're focused on, we obviously do have some deep commitment here and uncommon bonds, which, that's family. That's basically, and sometimes we have a little bit of there. Glare on the card creates a little blur, but so I think there is a deep commitment right now that you want to manifest something really positive out of all of this new catalytic energy, this transformation energy. So you're deeply committed to that. And that is the connection right now between you and your love interest. Now, to go along with that, we've got the broom. Taking the broom on its own merits. The broom says that you need to get rid of something. There's unwanted things there that you do want to get rid of. And I don't know if that is, changes in the way that you're thinking. Could be you need to change some of your thought patterns. You may want to get rid of, let me think, the way you're responding to things. You may want to get rid of patterns that you've had going on between you, or thought patterns that, again, this is between you and your love interest. We want to stop some of the repetitive stuff that we do on an automatic basis. So that really is a transformation, and change can actually bring awareness to you that you're able to see some repeated patterns. And it might be a really good time to say, hey, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to get rid of the way I'm responding to certain things. And that's that deep commitment. You're having a very big commitment to focus on things that you don't want anymore in the relationship. And that, again, at the moon, the full moon, we're letting go and releasing, right? We're releasing things that we don't want. So while getting rid of is an active, I think that's probably what the broom is more symbolic of. It's not just releasing. It's an active word, right? To sweep away, to get rid of. That means you taking some action to do something to break those patterns. Releasing isn't always gonna work. And maybe in this case, you might have to literally take the bull by the horn and say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to get rid of that unnecessary pattern that I have. And that's where the commitment comes in. All right. The other thing that we have is the lily. And the lily is speaking to, I want to say, maybe the longer relationships that exist in this reading, those of you who have been in a very long-term connection with this person. This is you becoming deeply committed once again to that that relationship, the established relationship that you have. And this relationship has always been developing. It's a more long-term relationship. The commitment here is to the fact that you're wanting to go the long haul. You're wanting to move into this mature relationship. And the fact that there's talk of sexuality and this mature, achievement relationship. This is a really, really good sign that this week you're going to see some of this energy between you. And a lot of that, I would say, goes back to the fact that, you may have actually gone through some kind of a portal. You might actually have, made some kind of transformation. And it's going to show up in the connection between you and your love interest this week. I'm going to ask a question. This is where I'm going off the reservation. And I say that I want to ask, what kind of things are we wanting to get rid of? So I'm going to set these cards aside over here. I'm going to say, what is it that we're wanting to get rid of right now? Okay. The first card is a waterfall. Interesting. Geese. Oh, okay. All right. I'm like, what is that? And then Source it's so funny. I love how Source does that. Oh, interesting. Well, I hope we don't want to get rid of the man, right? But we do. You get the boot. All right, so we got the cards. All right. So what is it that we're wanting to get rid of? The geese. Okay. Geese tend to migrate, like we know. They move around. They go between places, right? We may be tending to do that in our relationship. How much do we create the ebb and the flow of the relationship by our withdrawal and then our coming back and then our withdrawal and then our coming back? We were talking about patterns, getting rid of, when we are not feeling in control, okay, of a situation, a lot of times we will relocate our presence. In other words, I'm there, I'm not there. Geez, I don't think I'll reach out now. Oh, I think I'll keep to myself, and we withdraw. But then we miss the person, and then we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to contact. In other words, we've got these patterns of relocation and migration like geese do. They come south at the summertime, and then I'm sorry, I've got that wrong. They fly north. I'm trying to think, oh my gosh, I can't remember what geese do. And I had lived with geese on our pond for so long. And that really does make me feel stupid. But that's just so funny. Oh my God, though. That is just such an indication about how the ego control and the have to know and the keeping everything in our brains has been the way we've been programmed to be. And all of a sudden, we get to this place where we don't know anything anymore. We don't hold on to these programs, these belief systems. I mean, who doesn't know where geese travel at what season? Everybody knows, right? You see them in the season and they're traveling. I'm sitting here in a state of being where I'm no longer sure of anything. I'm in an open, receptive state to change and shift and transformation and change. What do I need to let go of, right? I need to let go of the certainty that comes along with, migration happens then. You're supposed to do this when you do it. You're supposed to come back here at this particular time. The rules to the game. This is how it's done. And also, I want to say on a quest, it's funny. I want to let you know that the ego is trying to talk to me and tell me you have to come up with the answer to which the way the geese are, flying in the summer or the winter. And you want to know what? My higher self is instructing me right now that everything I'm saying has a genuine purpose. And so I'm going with my higher self. And I'm not tuning into that information because it's not necessary. It doesn't have anything to do with the point that's being made here by Source. Okay? So it's interesting. This is what starts happening when we get out of our own way. When we stop being our own authority. Okay? We stop with the ego and we get heart-centered. All right. So going back to what we need to get rid of, we're talking about the ebb and the flow and the needing to be here and there and the control. The other thing I see here is being on a quest. We no longer have to be on the quest for this union. We no longer have to be like seeking this seeking this relationship. We no longer need to navigate it. We no longer have to take the hands on the steering wheel and control it. That it is just something that is going to come around cyclically. All right? So we don't need to make anything happen. And we don't have to worry about, geez, should I let this person, feel my absence, or should I reach out, or should I? None of those things are anything any longer where we need to be at least for those of you who are at that place. What do we need to get rid of? Well, the waterfall, that's symbolizing we need to get rid of anything that is overflowing, whether it be something that is full of joy. We need to actually release it, because believe it or not, if you have joy and you don't let it flow out of you, then you are not being the vessel that your higher self has come, to inhabit, the vessel that's able to release and express is what I'm getting, the expression. Now, if you are dealing with emotion that is, whatever those emotions are, if it does move you to tears, you want to get rid of or release that pent up energy. Okay, so whatever that energy is, you're going to want to release it. Now, it's interesting that the man is in here. Now, I really do not think that Source is saying, you're supposed to get rid of the man. I don't believe that at all. I do believe that, we're going to do this here with the Lenormand style. We're going to pair it with this. We are releasing the need to control that cyclical, the ebb and the flow. It goes around and around and around. We're going to release our need to navigate this connection. This week, we're basically, if I had asked the question, what do we need to focus on? We would focus on, this is our journey, this is our quest. But really what the question was is, what do we need to get rid of? We need to get rid of being on that quest. We need to get rid of hands on the steering wheel. I want to say simplify, leave no man behind, It's like you don't have to worry that you need to be there for this person and show up for this person. You can just sort of let this ebb and flow happen of its own accord. You can let go of the need to control it. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and I want to put these two sets of cards kind of together. All right, so we have those cards. Now, let's talk about what you can expect in your relationship this week in terms of like communication or like physical connection. You know, what is it that you can expect? And okay, well, the first card we get is the Tower in terms of, hang on a second, let me see if I can get, there we go. The Tower, but this isn't necessarily like the Tower card in the Tarot, but it is a standing in your, I want to say standing in your power, standing alone. But it's also has a lot more to do with institutions and things of that nature. So we'll see what else that. Okay. We never like to see this card coming up, but this is a great card because whenever stuff comes up, whenever we're done with something, it means we're liberated. So we're going to be done with something this week, and it doesn't mean you're done with them. Please, let's put that right up there. Okay, what else? Okay, we got the snowflake. All right, so what can we expect in terms of, real world, this kind of communication? What's going to go on with you guys? All right. Well, obviously, because of the fact that we have the tornado, there's something that you're done with in this connection, okay? This could very well be you're done with the patterns. You're done with, let's go back to some of those, what do I need to get rid of? The tornado actually says that circumstances come up that actually precipitate what it is you're trying to achieve in something, all right? So it's that, again, it's another catalyst. It's another, something that's actually going to create something, a shift in something. And of course, we're just surrounded by the transformation cards. So there's something this week that will be, you're going to decide that there's certain things that you're done with. You're really done with this. Doesn't have to be a relationship that you're done with, but it could be, I'm done with feeling this way. I'm done with the way that we're communicating in this manner. I'm done with, my thought patterns of this person, and I want to do this differently. It's interesting because a friend of mine just disconnected from social media for a couple of days and said, I'm done. And that was just today. So, hey, this reading is obviously, there you go. And the beauty of that is that when you're done with something, it means that you've drawn your boundary. And when you're done your boundary, you're standing alone with that. You're willing to stand alone with it to stop the pattern. You're willing to say, you know what? I'll be by myself rather than continue to do this or feel this or experience this or put up with this, whatever it is. You feel that you have, I want to say the Tower card here. When I think of the institutions, and this feels, it's funny because as I'm, reading these cards, I know so much is happening in our institutions right now that are breaking down. But the reason why they're breaking down is because people on the micro level are basically saying, I've had enough of the way things have always been done. It's not working. I'm tired of the hierarchy. I'm tired of the government. I'm tired of all of this. We're tired of the institutions the way they are. So, there's that storm card. And the storm card is basically saying, you know what? I'm done with that. And that is how these big, huge institutions or huge patterns or programs come falling down, is when we're over and done with it. And the word that always is the best word in this card, especially for me as Sagittarius, liberate. So whatever this thing that happens with you in your communications, with your love interest, your beloved, you're bound to say something to yourself that says, no, not doing this anymore. Now, the snowflake does indicate that it can be a delicate situation. So while you may be in your strength and own your newfound confidence in where you're standing, your decision that you're at a place where you're done with a particular pattern, you are going to want to be delicate with that situation. You're going to want to pay attention to the details, either of how it's communicated or how you orchestrate what it is that you set out to do from that point. It is a delicate situation, and I want to say mastery comes into play here, because mastery is very precise, and it is able to handle very delicate situations very carefully, very diplomatically, using your intelligence, using your creativity to be able to handle something that's very delicate. So this may be in conversation that you're having with this person. You're going to want to handle, when you're done with something, the energy of ownership of that new, that new pillar of knowledge of yourself. It's like you get to know yourself better, and you know what is acceptable and what isn't, or whatever. How you communicate that really is your level of mastery, because I think you're really getting to the place where you no longer need to go into the ego to communicate. You're more in your lion self, your true heart-centered nature, okay? And that has a lot to do with the fact that we're in transformation energy. All right, so you're going to bring out your mastery, and you're going to handle delicate situations that come from this over and done, whatever it is. All right. I'd like to ask, is there anything more that Source can tell us about this over and done? Okay, is there anything else that Source could tell us about the over and done? What is it that we need to know about the storm that's brewing? Storm. Oh, illusion jumps out at me. This is Neptune. Oh, God, I just absolutely love the planetary influencer cards. I found those, and that's the Hangman, by the way, in the tarot deck. And I'm not a real tarot person. I love watching tarot readings, and I just kudos to you that really know it inside and out. Okay, the next card is the Book. All right, the Book. And this is, again, what do we need to know about that storm? And then the Moose. Okay, so let's take a look at these cards. What do we need to know about that over and done? Well, the Book really talks about mysteries. Like, you think about looking up, going to look up something because you don't know. You don't really know something, and you reach for the book, and you're going to find the hidden knowledge. um, that it is kind of a mystery. Uh, so what do we need to know about the over and done? Well, that literally some of that stuff is actually coming up and coming from past. I want to say it's illusion, and I might really tune into this here. This is, okay, what is it? And so what's so funny is, some of you may already, because we all have our own ability to tune into messages, you guys might actually already know, if you were to look at these cards, what exactly that storm over and done is about. And I want to say that it's really unlocking some of the deep, hidden mysteries of what's been going wrong for a while. Okay? So, I'll look at that card a little bit closer. Okay? You see that magic that's coming out of the book. The magic is saying that sometimes we really don't understand what's happening when it comes to particular circumstances and situations. And every once in a while, it's like you get clarity from hidden knowledge, like it's been eluding you. And all of a sudden, the information becomes clear because you're able to read it. You're able to see it. You're able to really tune in and get it. It's like the mystery becomes known, and you can't really get there unless you open that book of knowledge. And it's like that book of knowledge is actually being opened for you, and it enables you to say, this is done. I'm done with this. It's no longer necessary because now it's clear to me. And all the while, this was an illusion. Whatever belief systems I've had, whatever control mechanisms I've had, whatever coping skills I've had, it's over. It's done. It's like you've been in this place of suspension where you can't really move forward because you haven't really been able to see and unlock that mystery of what it is that has to change in order for you to be done. So I love the word enlightenment, all right? The word enlightenment, look at that with that energy coming out of that book. When something becomes illuminated and it's so clear to you, you can actually get to a place where you're ready to say, I get it. I'm done. I don't need that anymore. I don't need it anymore. And that's what shifts and changes. That's why I love that storm card. I love the tornado. Now, the moose, okay? It's a very strong, powerful energy. The moose is an imposing character. It's alone, and it's protection. So in all of this, it's like that powerful soul essence of your, I'm going to use the word that's right there, imposing nature that comes from your higher self. And I don't want to say imposing because it's not imposing upon you, but it's present and it's powerful. And it allows you to literally stand in your own power and be okay. So as you're unlocking these things, right, and you're illuminating and seeing the enlightened perspective, you become strong. And I want to say that protecting yourself is not listen, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and A Course in Miracles will say that you will do what you would defend against. So I'm not saying that word protect yourself and your loved ones, as much as stand in your complete knowledge that you are protected. That's the secret, hidden truth. And when you're done with something and it's over, you no longer need those patterns. You're literally fully protected. And all those that you're around, because you're not projecting your stuff onto them. That includes that love partner, that love interest, that twin flame, that sacred partner. Okay. All right. So let's look at what we're going to do, what we're going to focus on, what is a good thing to focus on in order to accelerate true sacred union. I mean, true sacred union to me is that physical manifestation of your perfect reflection of you within you in total balance. And that was another conversation I had yesterday. I've said it and I'll say it again. So long as we have needs outside of ourselves, so long as we carry patterns of imperfection, we cannot have those true sacred union relationships materialize fully in the way that we prefer, because we don't have all of our dominoes in a row. We don't have all of our chips on the table. We don't have all of the whole package. And what happens is that is projected outward. So the way you can tell if you're in true sacred union is you're in union, and that materializes for you. And I want to say that is the same when it comes to even, creative expression and projects. Things will seem to elude you. They will dip and, you'll think, oh, it's coming to fruition, and then it doesn't, and it ebbs away again. That is because, from what we were talking about in the very beginning, you can't have something show up that you're not aligned with vibrationally. So I do honestly believe that when we are fully aligned with what we prefer, that it cannot help but manifest fully. If it hasn't manifested fully, you are not ready, because your reality and your existence is literally your projection. So the question we're going to ask is, what can we focus on to accelerate true sacred union? What do we need to focus on? We need to focus on, okay? The man. We got the man again. The sun. And the Celtic knot. Isn't that interesting? What I just said comes out in these cards, because when we want to accelerate something, we need to become that which we seek. We need to be a vibrational match with it. All right, so let's look at these cards. What do we need to become? We need to become the sun. Okay? Look at this. We need to become that which we seek. The energy, the power. I love the word climax here. Really. The climax, if you think about that, is this orgasmic expression between two people who are experiencing their oneness in a physical, tangible way. It is the total fulfillment of all of our highest cravings and the physical expression on this planet. It is the feeling of success. It is the feeling of the divine masculine. This energy is what we need to become aligned with, the sun energy, all right? Inside of ourselves. When we are in this state, we can literally materialize our perfect reflection. All right, let's look at what's this perfect reflection. The Celtic knot. Unconditional love. Divine union. Love of a lifetime. It's legendary, right? This eternal love. The Celtic knot is the twin flame, that sacred partner. So we're getting very specific information on what we can do to accelerate that true sacred union. We have to align ourselves with the energy of the sun. We become the climax. We become the energy. We become the success. We say yes to true sacred union. Okay? Oh my God, I love these cards. Now let's look at this. Hello. Okay? So, this is the masculine. This is the man. This is the person you know that's the love interest. So don't think so much about the sex as you think about this is your love interest. A lot of you happen to be women. A lot of you happen to be heterosexual women. So the man is the prevalent card that comes up. But the man is just symbolizing that other person. So what do you need to do and focus on to accelerate your true sacred union is to definitely get into that place where you are in your power. Okay? You're in your power. You're radiating the power of the sun. You become the energy which you want to have matched. You stay there. See, we got to keep going back to the first three original cards, right? The first three original cards is all about becoming the change. You are renewed, complete renewal. What's fair and just, heart-centered, transformation. You need to be the change. I say that a lot of times. You need to be the change you wish to see in the world. Who is going to do that if you do not? You are the change. Become that change. And that just, that just goes along with Esther Hicks and the law of attraction and everything, how you want to become a vibrational match with that which you prefer, and then you create it. So what we're going to focus on is literally the sun. All right, that's really a great card. Oh my gosh, I love those cards. So let me put these cards over here now. I'm going to be talking more about these cards. I know it. These ones right here. This is our focus. What is this card? I don't know why this card's here. I'm not really sure. Just sort of set off to the side. So, oh no, I'm going to hold this card off to the side. I don't know if it's just not supposed to be included or if it's going to come up again, but it doesn't really, nothing really jumps out, but it was very specifically set aside. So we're not going to ignore that. What are we going to look at next? All right. What do you need to know about what your sacred partner, your twin flame, your love interest, your soulmate that you're focused on? What do you need to know about their situation and what's going on with them right now? Oh boy. Looks like they're having a challenging time. Okay? They're having a challenging time. But it does seem like they're having some realizations in the midst of all of that. Sorry, we've got a little bit of blur. There we go. All right, and let me just grab this card. Okay, interesting. It's quite a different set of cards here. This is what we need to know about the love interest this week. Well, this person's definitely making some realizations. They're dealing with certain things. It's funny, we got another sun card. Whatever their experiences are is putting them into a deeper understanding. Like they're actively looking at situations. They're actively looking. This is a really hard one for me right now. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna, I'll work through it though. All right. The first card that came up was the mice, which means they're not in a great situation right now. A lot of them are probably very stressed out. They're very stressed out. The mice tend to be a symbol of, eating, picking and picking at each other and nitpicking, chewing stuff up, very much worry energy and stress. So the other person that we're talking about right now while you're, going through all of this is going through some really hard times. But it's interesting because the sun is the giver of life, right? The sun is in the tarot deck, the sun. And this is like spotlighting or putting great purpose on something. This does get down to the root of their identity, of themselves. It says here, censoring the inner child. There is something going on that is getting down to the core essence, the core foundation, to get to the sun within this person. It's a very powerful experience that they're having. It's necessary is what I'm getting. It's very necessary in order to get into a better, more carefree place. Okay? Now, we're asking, what do we need to know about where they're at? It's so interesting because we've got, and it may very well be, and I'm going to allow for this as well, that we have a spectrum of people being at different places. I mean, this is a general reading. So some of them may be very happy-go-lucky in a great place. You may, find that they're very flirty with you, or that they're feeling very unattached from problems. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, they may be stressed out as hell. So maybe this is what these cards are trying to say, is that every one of your love interests may be at different places, but no matter where they're at, this is the essential core of their being. It's like they're matching. Whatever they're doing, they're matching this. This is yours. This is, look at that, the sun. What do you need to be focused on? Well, what are they focused on? Whatever they're focused on is the same thing you're focused on. However, you've got two possibilities here. You got someone that's going to get here because they can't take this anymore. They're done. This is going to drive them to that place, right, of the sun. Or they're in a great place. They're ready to hook up, see ya, spend time with ya, and they're coming from a carefree place. But I think that the magic of this is that you're both in the same place. You're focused on becoming that vibrational match with what you want, and the universe is also working on them to get to that same place. I would say, if this is the situation with your counterpart, the best thing for you to do and your knowledge about that is to understand. Just understand it to be reality and understand it's part of their process to get to where they are here. If they're here and they're in that happy circumstance, happy-go-lucky, carefree, then you may be hearing from them. You may be hearing from them. They might be in a place where they're really wanting to reach out. So that was an interesting read on those cards, if I do say so myself. I've not had that come up before, but that was pretty clear, is that it's two ends of the spectrum. Okay? Yay! All right. So I'm going to go set these cards over here. The last thing that we're going to ask is, what does your higher self wish you to know for the coming week in general? Okay, what additional information does Source have for you? I love playing with these cards and tuning in. All right, so what does Source want you to know? All right, here's the first card. Okay, squirrel comes up a lot. It's interesting. Okay, the squirrel comes up for me so much. Oh my gosh. We might be pulling some more cards for this one. And the ladybug. Okay. All right. Well, first of all, the central card is the lighthouse, and it's a warning, okay? I want to say that this probably has a lot to do with that storm. Be aware, right? Be aware that you may end up with the storm. Just put it in your consciousness right now. Hey, there may come a moment this week where I'm over and done with something. This is just a reminder from Source. Use tact and diplomacy. Remember, we got that card, the snowflake. The snowflake said, hang on, I love the snowflake. Delicate situation. Please try to pay attention to the details and be precise about it. All right? So, the lighthouse. Be aware. See, when I see beware, I also see be aware. And when I see threat, all that says is, hey, just be conscious that if you aren't aware, that, it could be perceived as something huge and scary that you may want to run away from, but it's not. It's just this slight wake up, be aware, be awake, okay? That is paired with the squirrel. And the squirrel, I think of the squirrel as being the opposite of that careful, okay? They're hyper. I keep thinking of that squirrel in those movies. Oh my gosh. Oh, Hoodwinked, where the squirrel drinks coffee and starts talking, blip, 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 hyperactive, right? It's like this right here is probably the warning, is to, as you become over and done, don't go into this place. The warning is, don't go into a scolding, accusatory, because that's just going to create stuff. And it's also saying, don't hold it inside and be really secretive about it. All right? That's your warning. That's what the warning is about, the 2-card pair. Make sure that you don't go on the attack. Don't go off the deep end, get on the sailing and go blah, 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 blah. And then don't do the opposite, which is, I'm not going to tell them how I feel. I'm not going to address the situation. I'm just going to keep it all inside. I'm going to be secretive about it. This is the key. Deal with it in a delicate way as the master that you are. Okay? You're going to deal with this in a delicate way. You're going to use diplomacy. You're going to use diplomacy and tact. You can always communicate what you need to communicate from a loving, very clear way, a non-accusatory way. And this is the card that tells you it's all going to be okay. Right? The clover, the ladybug. Take it easy. Approach this in a much more leisurely situation. Your eventual wishes are eventually going to come true. So it's not as big of a deal as you think. Be careful not to go to that place that's ego-oriented, which is this stuff. So that's the warning. Dun, dun, dun. Don't do this because this could be a problem. It's interesting because I love getting these kind of warnings, because when things come up, it makes me say, oh, here we go. That's what that's talking about. And okay, let's throw this card in there. Remember the card that was sitting out there on the side? This is the other warning. Don't go and be standoffish about it. I'm over and done. I'm going to walk away and be an island. I'm going to separate myself off. I'm going to just go to my own room. Right? I'm going to isolate myself. I'm going to isolate that other person. That warning, and it was over here. Here we go. These are the 3 egoic responses, when a storm comes up. We're going to accuse somebody. We're going to scold them. We're going to, communicate in a really horrible way, giving lip service to being in your higher self, right? And you can also do I'm not going to talk to you. Either way, it's a warning. Don't do it. Everything's going to work out just fine. Okay? This is the card that I would focus on. Be the sun. Be the sun. Even when you discover what that is that you're over and done with, this is you. Be that. Focus on this. Unconditional love. Okay? Unconditional love means that someone can come to you in any state, in any form, in any emotional or verbal or anything, and you are not affected. It doesn't blow out your candle. So, unconditional love is really about, it's not about letting someone step on you and be a doormat or anything like that, but it means if you come to me in a way that's other than I prefer you to, it's not going to make me feel bad about me. I'm going to make you innocent. That's another Course in Miracles. You're innocent. You cannot be responsible no matter how you show up. You're not going to affect my flame that burns so, and that makes the person innocent. Because if they show up for you in a way that's other than loving and kind, and you stay in your center, and you're able to say, this is theirs, this is not mine. When you're able to do that, they're like, oh wow, I just did this, and that person did not attack me or make me feel like the monster that I'm feeling myself. You make the other person innocent. So unconditional love is really about having no conditions on how someone approaches you. Now, boundaries are different in that you can, and again, it's like I want to pull this out. The broom. Okay? Boundaries are not, it's a form of getting rid of, but it's really not getting rid of a person. It's really getting rid of an energy. Okay? Because boundaries basically say, I love you. I don't accept this right now. I'm going to just go into my space of centeredness, and I'm not going to let that affect me. And that is really how we get rid of circumstances we don't prefer, because we can simply let it go, drop it, let it go. We can go claim our own sacred space and go raise our vibrations. In other words, it gives us all kinds of things. We can get rid of an unwanted circumstance by doing that, by going to that space of centeredness. So, I think I'll leave it at that. I think that we've got some really, really powerful cards, and I do believe that this is an incredible way, to come out of the Scorpio moon. We're still in the middle of these energies right now. So, the portal that is available to you, if this is the time for you to step through it, I think everybody is in different places. But it's really, really exciting to see these transformation cards and to see the catalytic card awakening and to see, look at that, complete renewal transformation. So anyways, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. I want to say that if you did like this reading, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see these readings in your feed, go ahead and press that the bell, and the bell will make sure that the readings that I have will come through your feed as they come out and are released. Now, I am thinking of doing something. In fact, I'm going to do this for any of you that have made it through my whole video. If you are interested in having a free reading with me, this is something that I was toying with this morning, and I just decided I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do something that is going to be an experiment for me. I love these cards, but what I love about these cards more than anything is my ability to read them interacting with another person, with a person. And I want to ask you if you would like to be that person that I do a live, I don't know if I'm going to do a live reading, but I'm going to do a videotaped reading. You don't have to be on camera. You don't even have to have your real voice. You could just be asking me the questions via chat. But we're going to ask your real question. We're going to answer your questions. And when you have more questions, we're gonna take it as long as it takes to get you the information you're looking for at the time. Go ahead and put that down on the video below that you are interested in that. And I'm trying to think, probably the best thing to do is email me. And I'm trying to think, maybe vibrationsoflove1111@gmail.com. That's the email address I'm going to ask you guys to send your interest to. I'm going to do this. And the other thing that I can do, and I've been told by Aria that I can do this. I'm just going to start to pull these cards up. Aria has told me that she will allow me to give away one of her decks. And these decks are coming out, the Intuit Oracle, they're coming out at the end of this month. They will be available they're actually available for order now. And if you do want your deck, I do have the link below. You can have it, and if you end up with the free reading or the free deck, I think I'm going to do two different things. I'm going to give away a deck, and I'm going to give away a reading. I'm going to do two different things. That way it gives people more of a chance to win, if you want to call it that way, win. So yeah, I'm going to do that. It's just something that I just decided I'm definitely going to do right now. And your name does not have to be given, but you can get really specific with your questions for your situation. And then anyone that wants to tune in, they can. There's always messages for everybody because we're all in this together. So I want to do that. So anyways, make sure that you comment below that you're interested. Say, yes, I'm interested. You can go ahead and share this video also. Go ahead and share the video. Let's get as many people as we can to participate, and we'll see. I may do more than one. I haven't really fleshed this out. You'd think I would have. But that's me. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm on the fly. I will go ahead and work out all the details and put it below. But thank you so much for your keeping me company during this reading. And I'm very excited. Got something new going on. All right. Well, thank you. And I hope you all have a very blessed week. Make sure you comment below if you've got anything to say about the reading or if it resonates with you. Thank you and have a great day. Namaste.